Commission regular business meeting for June 12th, 2023, to order at 6:30. First of all, roll call, Austin McNair.
Nora McNair, Commissioner.
And Nicole Faribault, City Clerk. Amanda Kendall, City Treasurer.
Okay. Next, we'll have public comment. Jackie, if you want to approach.
Just a few things. The highway, I happened to be talking to Tracy Lewis the other day, and she gave me contact. They're supposed to mow it a week before the rodeo, all along Highway 4, all the way through town. They're going to try to hit some that are right in town. So that is done. Veteran flags, that beautification has started. There are 29 sold, and we've got 6 more waiting just for photos. So that was a huge, huge blessing, I think, for the city. And thank you, Nicole, for that idea. We ran with it, and it has really gained legs. So we're going to continue that onward. So if anybody wants to honor a loved one or family member that has been in the service, please continue to keep them going. Because at that point, we're going to double up on polls and just keep it going. It's very impressive, and I think it's very honorable. Shane and Joy Pets have been cleaning up over there by the golf course, and I want to thank them because it looks really good. It's starting to really shape up. I think there needs to be a 10 horn, and I know Joe's not here, but that road's starting to collapse again over there off by the golf course. It's really starting to cave in, and carts are getting stuck and everything. So I want to remind everybody when they're mowing to mow into the yards, not into the streets, as well as around your building, not to mow it into my sod. So just FYI. Last thing, hydrants, painting hydrants is not illegal. There is 40 cities in the state of Kansas that have painted hydrants. 40 of them. One of them is Derby, Kansas, which is a big metropolis. And if you go in, it is based on the city and only the city. So the city can create that ordinance. So I highly recommend rethinking that. V is going to be her next, hopefully next month now that the meetings have changed, but she's very upset about it. I think you guys are missing the boat by allowing her. She's a beautiful toll painter. I think she would do our city very favorably.
Comments? Next, we got Anita.
Well, I want to thank you for inviting the rodeo people for tonight's meeting to talk about licensing or whatever you guys are going to talk about. And just, I just ask that you don't over-regulate stuff that's going to make a damper on special events for the library, for the museum, for the rodeo. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Anita. Okay, next we'll have the consent agenda. Is there any additions, corrections? The consent agenda as far as the bills to be paid or the meeting minutes? Mama? No additions or corrections?
No.
Okay, make a motion to accept the consent agenda this time.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same side, motion carried. Okay, next we have resolution and ordinances.
I did the one, but I don't have any information
What about this one then? Okay, so we can go on to that next one. We'll just go to commissioner reports. Turn this on. So Joe texted Nicole, I believe, and said he will not be attending due to an MRI. So Commissioner McNair, do you have a report?
Well, basically, I'll just wait until we're talking about fire hydrants, because I did look up some stuff and got some things in play on that. So we'll just talk about that later, but no, I don't have any other stuff.
Okay, so we'll go on to my mayor's report. I spoke with the league a little bit to figure out as far as what we can do with the fire hydrants. I guess I can leave that off till we get to that one too. Let's see. Okay, give you my follow-up. My follow-up with the chat was, there's supposed to be,
It's not chat, it's just rock.
oh, it's just rock, okay. Well, what we ordered for the machine shed is still not here yet, so he informed me that Skillet sold off some of his dad sold some of his property and got rid of the machine, so they haven't been doing anything with the rock out at the quarry for like a month and a half, so they weren't real sure what I was talking about, but they said they think that they've heard Robbie talk about it. So as soon as Rob tells us what they've got, then they'll be delivering. That was the best she could give me today. So that's the update on that. I followed up with the signs. The alumni asked me to follow up on signs for posting for the museum. So I called the state highway to see what signs we can put up on the for the museum. They have signs that basically, I guess it's like the ones you have in your yard for if you have like a person on a basketball team. It's one of those signs like they put in the yard. So it's on wooden stakes, but they asked me to follow up to see if they could maybe hang signs for the actual Paper Moon part so they can direct people. So I told her that we would have to just look and see what we could figure out with the state on those easements, because we don't want to be on their easement, because apparently they took the no truck signs that were hung by the previous commission, part of them, because they weren't regulated, he said. They have to be bought by them, purchased by them, and it's all a whole new thing, so we can't do that, so we've got to watch what we put out there. They were going to take the no jake brake signs, but they were nice enough to let us have them back because they didn't know, I don't know, they didn't know, they knew they weren't theirs by the bolts that were in there. So everything has to go through Great Bend on that. So we're just trying to figure out
Signs
what
were
they
purchased
can.
through them.
They weren't approved apparently through the Great Bend. So I'm told what I was told. I wasn't here. So as far as that's a follow-up on that. I'm going to follow up on maintenance for the roads with, I already contacted, I'm waiting on Chad Faust to let me know as far as what I told Joe about getting somebody to come out and maybe work and do the roads at the county's pay. So I'm waiting to hear back from Chad on that one. Let me see here. I think that's all I've got. Oh, update on the pool. I talked to, since that's not on here, I talked to CN Sewage. They'll be here Wednesday to cam the pool to see what all is broken. So we'll be working on getting that cleaned out so that we can get the cameras down there to see what pipes are broken. Other than that, that's all I've got. Okay, next we'll have officer reports with Nicole.
I don't have anything.
Amanda?
I don't have anything.
Shane?
Tina Turner died.
I
Shame.
think you're dealing the dollar store just.
No shame.
Are you the gentleman that was painting down at the park, the poles?
Maybe.
Yeah, it really looked nice, Shane.
Thanks.
Really nice.
Right, last year.
I don't think he's got anything.
Okay. Next we'll go to old business, the rodeo board collaboration for permits, for event permits. So I'm gonna give Roger the floor for his knowledge on what the rodeo does for McCracken.
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting us. I didn't know anything about this till noon today, so a little bit prepared, but not, that's my excuse before I start when I mess up, but pretty good at last minute deal anyway. But as far as, I'm not sure, maybe a question I would have back to you before I start, what, as far as permits and so on and so forth, what are we talking about?
been proposed to bring up a event permit that you would pay before you have an event, so that we can keep a register of what the event is going to be, like where they're gonna be set up for if there's any beer sales, if there's any food truck sales. The event permit would then give the money back into the city. So you would pay, let's say, a $40 permit, that money goes to the city, and it continues on the next vendor that has to pay the $40 permit if they do vendor permits. If they do the event permits, they would still have to fill out the actual report, the permit part, but nonprofit organizations and churches would be exempt from paying the price. So you would be actually looking at more out-of-town people than you're gonna be in town, because most everything we have here is nonprofit, so.
We are a non-profit organization as far as being tax exempt. We don't have to charge tax as far as being non-profit and being the 501c3, I believe is the number of it. We are not, but we are non-profit back as far as the tax, that we don't have to collect sales tax. But so I'm not real sure what you're wanting from us as a committee. I know that committees here, I think you know most everyone over there. My wife, Brenda, Haley, Holly, Arlene, and Teresa.
I just listen.
No, you was the official tree picker up there yesterday. But, we were all up there yesterday, and it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money to put that on. We are all very proud of. It keeps McCracken on the map, and I don't care if it's McCracken or any town in western Kansas. I think we all agree that the trend is just dying and dying and dying, and there's not a whole lot left in town to offer. And what we do have, we need to keep going. And I think all of us can vouch for the fact that wherever you're at, you say you're from McCracken, no, that's where the rodeo's at. I mean, we're proud of that. Preparing for it and getting ready for it, you think, this is BS, I ain't doing that again, it's too damn much work. But when it's all said and done, very boastfully say, I think most of you know, we've, out of like 50-some towns, the contestants vote on that, and we've been voted. And that covers Texas, part of Texas, part of Colorado, all of Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and like I said, 50-some towns, like 56, but the contestants vote on that, and we have been named Rodeo of the Year 16 times, and Committee of the Year 4 times, so jokingly so, I'm always joking around, it ain't our first rodeo, so it takes a lot of outside support. We are all geared by sponsorships, and I think most of you know that, whether it's from Great Bend, Garden City, Waukene, all the surrounding areas, plus a lot of donations, a lot of time spent by all of you. Everyone in this room have did some part up there, whatever it is, and we don't take that for granted. We appreciate that. And as far as the vending side of that, in my opinion, would be, I guess, a question would be for all of you to think about, is there anybody in the room that know from past history what the McCracken Rodeo has put back into this community? Does anybody know that? For an example, Brenda, my wife's secretary the last few years, the swimming pool, some years it was $3,000, a lot of years it was $1,000, but for a total contribution, paperwork to show it, we've donated to the swimming pool over the years $15,282. The Relay for Life, we've included their chapter fees the last several years for a total contribution of $9,000. The Methodist Church, $500. Area high school cheerleading to help with
$500 every year.
$500 every year, annually, yes, annually. And area high schools, total of $3,600 to help with concessions and whatever. So a total of $28,382. And we don't have a mower. The rodeo doesn't own a mower. The rodeo doesn't own a skid steer or a tractor. It's all volunteer help. It's there. We could use new bleachers. They're bad, but we try very, very hard to keep it community oriented, to help the community grow, stay alive. So as far as charging us a vendor fee or however the word is to be able to operate that rodeo, I you know, we don't have to put back into the city, to the community, what we're doing. I would think all the committee here needs a pat on the back instead of slap in the face. And I'm not saying that harshly, it's just that we try really, really hard to keep the community going. I mean, I think I could stand to be corrected, but a couple of years ago, as I recall, I'm in on a lot of the rodeo, but part of that I am not, but there was an issue at the swimming pool, as I recall, and they wanted the pool to be open for the rodeo, which is important for contestants, the contractor's help, whatever. I think we made a donation to that prior to us even having the money to do that. So if anybody in the room thinks we don't care, I would hope that you would second guess that, because we really, really, really do. Do we boast about it? No. I've always been told those who blow their horn too loud, pretty soon their battery goes dead, and I'm a firm believer in that. But you know, you know, we don't need a pat on the back, and we don't need to be whatever, but I think that's just proof of how much we really do care down deep and how much money we have put back in this community. I mean, there's a lot more than that if you really had time to think about it, but those are just some facts and figures that's black and white, that's down in the books. It's not a guess, it's reality. So I don't know what else. I mean, I'm really proud to be part of that association. Have been since day one, born, raised here, graduated from school here. I guess I got a little bit of an idea how McCracken has progressed or degressed or whatever over the years. I know what it takes. It takes everybody working together. I don't care. I've always said in the farming aspect, it's what I do, but if someone passes away and it's wheat drilling time, if everybody shows up and gets it done, you can get a lot done and it's fun. You know, you have to work together, and I guarantee you the most important thing that I always strive on is communication. If you communicate, you can heal everything on earth. You know, everything from family to business to whatever. And so we're here to communicate. We're here to listen on your comments. I think that's just a brief part of ours. I know I'm leaving some things out, but the main thing that I really want to implement is the fact that of how much we really have put back in this community, and have every intentions to do so. And I tell you what, it's not consistent because it's a struggle. I mean, a couple of years ago, the COVID thing we couldn't have, and the next year following that, it was tough. It started out as a fun little after harvest party. Well, now it's grown into a business, and that's damn good. I mean, we spend many, many, many miles putting up posters, promoting sponsors. I mean, we're working on next year's already. It don't just happen. If it wouldn't be for all these people and all the committee, and this is just a small percent, it just doesn't happen. But what I was going to say is that, you know, I think a lot of people show up on rodeo night, whoever it may be, the people out of town. Oh my God, they're filthy rich. And how many people was there? There was 2,500 at the gate, the beer sales. You know, it costs us about $70,000 a year to put that on. And if we ever get rained out, you've got to have a little bit excess. And so it's tough. It's tough to manage a business of that caliber with volunteer help. I mean, it is. How do you? Not everybody can agree, but back to that communication. We talk about it at meetings we have. Everybody's open-minded. Everybody's got a thought here or there. It's fun to spend money. I mean, that's a blast. But like I said, no, we don't have no equipment over there. Everybody brings theirs to town. You know, when you're poor, you got to live 4 ways, and we don't even know it. But we make it work. They make it work. I just get the opportunity to jabber about it. But it's fun. It's very rewarding, and we look forward to many more years as we can. I guess the project going on up there this year, they tore out both the north side and the south side of the arena. So if you want to play right, you're going to have to put up electric fence to have a rodeo, and that ain't going to be too damn good. But, so, I mean, and that's costly. So do we donate consistently every year? No, we don't. But I guess that's some totals that we've did the last several years. So we try hard to put back into the community is what I really want to stress.
Roger, may
Yes.
I add a little bit to yours?
If that's all right with them.
Is that okay? when we started, like you said, it was for a little party, and then it grew for our centennial to have the rodeo as the vendor.
Uh-huh.
And then gradually, it grew into becoming a vendor for the alumni. Because
Yes.
that brings alumni, is that,
Yeah.
and some of them show up on Wednesday and they don't leave till Monday. And that's become a venue for the alumni, and the alumni sees what we need here in the town. And I have a list here of what all the alumni has given to this city. And without the rodeo, I think the alumni would fizzle
I
out.
think you're
Because
probably-
we don't have anything feeding the alumni. Because, you know, when the last class was gone, when we're all under the grass, there won't be an alumni.
Under the grass.
So,
No, you're right, because I don't care if you're a family reunion or the alumni rodeo, whatever. You hit and miss, you know they're gonna be here for the rodeo. That's the only time you see them per year. So I think everybody in the room knows that's what happens, and that's good. But back when you said the vendor type deal, you know, up until a couple years ago, we had a lot of vendors, if you will, wanted to come in, do this, do that. We never had electricity up there. I mean, we only had one transformer and the old shack. And I personally, our concession stand, because we only had one transformer. We didn't have enough electricity to plug in the camper for the clown, the this, the that. We only had one transformer. We was limited to how much we could use. But there was one year that the breaker box was so hot. Now, I know this is stupid, but I had ice on that with a fan on it, trying to keep it cool enough to finish the rodeo. So if you don't think there's things up there that we could use the money on right there that we're trying to put back in this community, you're wrong. But and as far as vendors we have coming in, that's just been a policy from day one. First of all, we don't have room up there. I mean, time you have kids events, you know, we try to keep it kid-oriented family. I think everybody knows that. I ain't preaching, but you know, you have a few of those kids events. We don't have room for a bunch of vendors, and we just tell them all, I'm sorry, we'd love to have you, but we don't have room. You let one come in, and who are you going to tell yes and who are you going to tell no? I mean, that's if you're asking or wondering about that, I know that isn't what you meant, the vendor aspect. That just reminded me of part of that. But
just, you know, the alumni comes here for the alumni lunch every year. And just this past year, the Alumni Association gave to just this building $9,015 for floor and restroom update. Just this building. And they gave to the library, the American Legion, the city park decorations, and it just is a dominoing effect of what the rodeo does do financially. And there's more that it can do too. But like you say, $70,000 is a lot for 2 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, anybody got any questions? I appreciate the time and the opportunity to our little bit, but I guess in closing, I would hope and pray for the benefit of the community, whether it's the rodeo or the Legion that puts on chicken fries or the church that puts on any of those things that is a community. Nobody's doing that to make money. They're doing it by the grace of God to help the community. And so I would, for a $100 vending fee or a $200, as the old saying goes, you can't bend over to pick up dimes and trip over dollar bills. I mean, I think everybody needs to look at the whole picture of what's going on instead of maybe one little entity. That's just my opinion.
And too, Roger,
Yes.
when those things that we have at the Legion, those are community things. That's where we get together. And just like last fall, that Halloween thing, that was awesome, Diane.
You're gonna do it again?
I know.
Yeah.
And, and we can build on things like that. And I
just think that the overall thought process throughout that was being said is, because this town is dead and dying, what is a way to help generate funds to put back into the community more,
Right.
to do more things? It wasn't malice or anything like
Oh,
that.
no, it
It's
wasn't
just to
intended.
try to
Yes.
do things better.
It wasn't
And how
taken
can
that
we do
way.
it? Well, through the grapevine, how it goes in this little town. But I'm
Well-
just saying that was the intent, was to help put more money back into the coffer of the city of
Yeah.
McCracken cracking fireworks. Because there is no money, there is nothing to do, you can't do anything, you can't fix anything, so I think the overall thought process was, how do we generate more funds to help the city?
Mhm.
You know, how do we piggyback off of the rodeo, because that is the big event. The next big event, again, is going to be, because the golf cart parade was a success, and it'll probably be even bigger.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So these are things that, you know, we're looking at, how to create more funds to get back into the city to make the city better. That was the thought
Right.
process.
And I think maybe down those lines, I mean, I understand there's not any entity on the face of this earth that couldn't use more money and trying to think, how can we do better, whether it's at your own home or any business you're affiliated with or whatever, the government, but, you know, I think lost my train of thought, but I think the aspect there is kind of like having a dinner, whether it be in this building or not. Do you charge $10 per plate, or do you charge free will offering? There's people at the end of the day, you know, from the generosity from alumni, from rodeo people, from the area sponsors. You know, I think if you scratch their back, they'll scratch yours. So it isn't all about, you know, in writing, here's what you need to do. I mean, none of us like to, from 3 years old to 103, my age, but none of us like to be told what to do. We like to be invited there. You do what you think. Use your conscience, be your guide. I mean, I think that's but anyway, I better shut up.
Thank you, Roger.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Roger.
Appreciate it.
Could I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
I've had people approach me in the past and tell me, well, it must be nice because you get paid to do this. I think that it's people's understanding that we get paid. I really do. So I think that's more the way that we're taking it is, we don't want to be, you know, when it's 100% volunteer help and we do spend our vacation time up there to put on this event. I feel like that's where we're more, where do you draw the line? What's an event permit for a nonprofit? I mean, because we're not making money at this. So I think that's where we're more just trying to inform everyone how it works, what we put into it, and, you know, that we do try to give back, so.
And you're right, there is not one paid rodeo employee, not
No.
one. I work on rodeo 365 days a year, and I don't get a penny, other than the glory of doing it.
Fringe benefits.
She sleeps with the guy that,
You're not it,
I'm
right?
I'm not complaining, but, because I love doing it, and I love working for the rodeo, but yeah, there's a misconception that we do not, nobody gets paid up there.
We don't even get, well, sometimes I get a beer.
Once in a while, every time.
We appreciate what you do, so thank you.
and I do agree that the rodeo has been, as Arlene had brought out, in fact, I was thinking about this today, and my thought was exactly that. The alumni reaps off of the rodeo, the golf course reaps off of the rodeo. I mean, there's quite a few entities that really truly do, and I do agree. I think those would die out rather rapidly if we did not have the rodeo. I really do. I am pretty much in agreements to that picking up dollars or cents to step over dollars is one thing that we do really.
So can I ask a question? I don't know what you guys'
Of course.
protocol is.
Sure.
I mean, you have on here rodeo board collaboration and talking about a vending permit or a whatever permit it is you're calling it. But what about the other entities in town that have events that are not nonprofit? I mean, not everything in town. Why are we the ones being singled out tonight, is my question. I mean, what about the golf club? What about the,
I think
you know, the,
I think it's because of the nonprofit and how they file. So all the other ones, and that's what I was saying, this included, if you guys are nonprofit, it'd be the same for you. There wouldn't be a permit. Am I correct? There's no, there's a permit, but there's
They
a
actually
permit, there's
have
no
changed
fee.
every ordinance.
There's no
for-
fee.
Through the golf course, through every entity here, so.
There's
This isn't-
no fee. So the event permit, like she was looking at, the churches and the nonprofits
Yeah,
would be
like
no
the
fee. So
501c3, there's
yeah,
no fee, they just
so
have to fill out the
it's a
permit.
permit.
That's just what I read.
So to me, it'd be just a lot of paperwork for.
I say I remember on the cereal malt beverage licenses, we already kind of filled out the attendance and the dates and the times and where liquor would be sold, and I mean, that right there
That's a
is a state
requirement.
filed report, and I would say that would give the same information.
I just wanted to invite you guys, because I know you're the biggest event we have. So if it would affect the rodeo, and then it could affect other
Trickle down.
organizations.
Yeah.
You know, just wanted to get everybody's kind of perspective. So, well, this time, I would make a motion for, since Joe's not here, I would make a motion to table this until he's able to come back and review this video to see what Roger spoke about and give some input on that.
Video.
Yeah, you're on video. He was a celebrity tonight.
Second,
I'll second it.
okay, we move it to the second
Your suit and
to
tie, wouldn't you?
have Joe review the video and to table this until he's able to give his thoughts on that process. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same side, motion carries. Okay. Next, what do you have for that?
What?
For this assistant?
Oh. I just have the ordinance written up, I mean, but you guys need to make a decision on the pay and everything.
Yeah, we have to go into executive session if we can.
No. Never before. Don't think so.
But you need to for non-elected personnel.
We never have before for that. I mean, that's up to you, it's not my decision. I just, oh shoot. I entered that stuff because that's what we had talked about, but I didn't know that was gonna be it, but that's just the green school thing, whatever you need to do.
Can you read this one?
No,
You want me to review
she can.
it? Or how do you this one? Scroll down.
You want me to just come down here?
You want to review this real quick?
You're tweaking.
I was thinking we was talking more, not hourly, but salary. Well, no, we didn't decide, yeah. Yeah. Probably so.
James Courts, he's the shop teacher for I'm not through the summer.
Yeah, I think that's the only part that I see.
And if not, people from the city.
Yeah, I'm not doing, I can see the salary if we're gonna do that.
I mean, if you want to executive session, we have to, if you want to, it's up to you.
We'll probably do that.
Make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session to talk about
Non-elected
possible
personnel?
personnel.
Okay, I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session for 10 minutes to talk about non-elected personnel. We'll return to this room at 7:14 and we convene session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same side, motion carried.
And you could go to the shop class, the class, built all kinds of closets for fire department in July. James Courtney's the shop teacher. I don't know if the children was volunteer because they did it on their own time. The students that he had built all those closets.
There's the, you have the copy copied ordinance there.
Oh,
Thanks, Reed. No, Nicole, this be the, that's set by resolution.
I'll look over to see. I don't know what you're talking about. I just copied and pasted the new.
Yeah, you're good. This one's like
You just need to switch. That's the way she did it.
So in the case.
The person is set by the resolution.
Okay. Okay. So. Okay, this is ordinance 2023-3. City of McCracken. An ordinance creating and setting salary qualifications, terms, and responsibilities for the position of the assistant to the city superintendent. Be it be ordained by the governing body of the city of McCracken, Kansas. Section 1 authority. The Board of Commissioners may appoint by majority vote of all members. Therefore, any employees as deemed necessary for the best interest of the city of KS 15-1601. Title of position created shall be known as the assistant to the city superintendent. The assistant to the city superintendent must be 18 years of age, resident of McCracken, a resident of the state of Kansas, and possess a valid driver's license. Salary: the assistant to the city superintendent shall be paid, and we have to come up with an hourly or set wage. Let's see here. The assistant to the city superintendent shall serve under the supervision of the city superintendent and at the pleasure of the Board of the Commissioners. Responsibilities: under the direction of the city superintendent, an assistant shall be responsible for maintenance and upkeep of city infrastructure, such as city streets, city cemeteries, city burn pit, and city-owned properties. In any section, clause, and the severability, any section, clause, sentence, or phrase of this ordinance to be found unconstitutional or otherwise held by any court or tribunal of competent jurisdiction, it shall not affect the validity of any remaining parts of this ordinance. This would be the ordinance that is in question. I want to look over this one. Majority look at it.
The one you just read.
Yeah, I was wondering, call it. Yeah. Okay, so, there would be setting the pay in here. What do you think as far as pay on there? Consensus?
Well, since, talked about hourly, I would go with $12 an hour and a 90-day probation period. And then we'll evaluate the job and the performance.
What are their job duties?
No.
She would,
Do what?
What are the job duties?
The job duties, they're set by the board, so when Joe's back,
It says just maintenance and upkeep of
maintenance
city
and upkeep of city
infrastructure,
infrastructure, but
such as city streets, city cemeteries, city burn
Just
pit,
an
and city-owned
assistant to
properties,
Shane.
is what the ordinance says.
so he can focus on water and sewer.
You can do this and if they don't want to stay, if they don't want to.
Do it.
If they don't want to,
Oh, yeah, you guys are
it's up to
good. If
them.
you want to stay, or you can hang out, it don't matter. Whatever you want to do.
We're thinking about quitting rodeo and applying for that job.
I
We got a job in town that pays.
Better than what they ever had. It's always been $7 an hour, so that's good. Moving up.
Okay.
No, thank you very
So,
much.
yeah, thank you. Okay, so that would be the ordinance. So is there any additions or corrections then? You're thinking how much you said?
$12 now?
$12. What's that for? And that's just hourly, right? That wouldn't be a salary.
No. And then, are we having Shane keep track of his hours?
I think that we'll just do that. They have a phone app that's a time tracker, and it tracks your
On the
location and
G-Works?
stuff. Huh?
On G-Works?
No, it's on the app store.
Oh, something you used?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I think that you should use, but it's up I mean, Shane isn't good at keeping track of things like that.
Well, no, I just meant there was
For your
some,
accounting
we
part
have
of
to
it,
have
is it
something
easier
accountable
to do?
to it.
I think that it would be
Easier to
better to
do
have the
salary.
voting for the counting. I mean, that's up to you, but I'm just saying if it was gonna be an hourly position, it should be like clocked in with.
Yeah,
the-
of course.
Yeah,
I was asking, do you think it would be,
it wouldn't matter either way with me, like on my end.
okay. So we figured 12. Times 36. Times 2. So would you say, for 36 hours, 12, that's close to 1,000. So would you say a salary of 1,000?
Could do
Yeah, what are you paying out more?
If you did that way, you're gonna have sometimes it's gonna be less, sometimes it's gonna be more in hours, on salary side. That's the ups and the downs of it. Sometimes that's better beneficially on the business side of it, and sometimes the other is, so it's kind of breverages.
Okay. But as where is putting it in for probationary, we can.
Exactly. This is what I put.
90 days. Okay.
Is that good enough?
Do you want to make a motion then?
Okay, I make a motion that we go with the hourly of $12 an hour with the 90-day probation period, and then we'll reevaluate work and salary.
Okay, I'll second that. Been moved and seconded that we go with the $12 an hour for the 90-day probationary period and then reevaluate after the 90 days on work and salary. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same side, motion carried. Okay, is there a resolution?
I haven't made a resolution yet. We haven't hired anybody yet.
Okay. So next, we have this list in 3-2 for a letter of interest. Chance to read that. I think with the probationary period, that might.
Well, I think with the probation period, then you still have that out if things aren't working as well, or if it's working really well, we high five and keep going.
Okay. So this was put in here on 3/2 of 2022. This was applied for the city worker before this position was even thought of. They said in the off chance if Shane ever needed help, just to let him know. So it says here, I, Robert Brown Jr., am interested in being a city worker as a street cleaner and other city needs. I've been a resident of McCracken, Kansas, off and on for 38 years. Thanks for your time and looking for me into this spot. Sincerely, Robert Brown Jr.
Do you guys
Is there any
application?
Have you advertised for it?
We
Yeah,
did
we
advertise for this in March for even a city superintendent. We've talked up here, all three of us, Joe, Norma and I, Nicole. We're putting out more money for advertising than you're finding people. You've got people in town that are willing to do it. They've already applied for positions. Why not give them a chance and see?
Well, that's not even an application.
It's a letter of interest that was put in.
In 22, it is now 23.
Yes.
Should be updated with an application. I mean, I just thought you guys had put together applications.
We
since-
did, we made an ordinance that
We don't have
made
any.
no more letters of interest.
There's
It's
no
supposed to be
more.
applications.
Applications that we even have in the drawer, so.
Okay.
Did you interview him about his skill set, work experience?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we've been down this road.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, he's working at Midland.
He's
and
worked there for
He's been there for over
over
a year. So he's doing hard work over there. He's interested. He's already helped out a little bit in town. doing things for people. He helped
So
us
he's
with
doing
the
this
city
in
cleanup.
addition to Midland?
This would be in addition to Midland, so it would be
This is part-time.
just a part-time gig to where they can help get some of those things done, like Joe was talking about not being able to do some of the streets. So this, he could help out with the streets where the cemetery had trees down. He could be cutting those trees down. Because if you look at it, Shane's position is mostly water and sewer, and we're paying him $1,800 a year for the other, out of this general, like I stated at the last meeting, so.
I thought the guy that you hired for the cemetery was supposed to do the trees and all that.
He does small limbs, but he's not gonna do the big tree that falls over at ice storms and stuff like that. He would for $50 an hour and a minimum of probably $200, you know, so, depending how big it is, so. I would make a motion to hire him on.
Like I said, we got a 90-day probation, so there's that out. It's not a locked-in job.
Yeah,
And he's approved with your insurance. Have you gone through that? Because we did last time and he was not approved. So you
He
probably
has a
ought to check
car.
with your insurance.
he has car insurance and he's approved through there, but we can check with Jeff.
Yeah, You're
on
talking
that.
about liability for the city.
Yeah, we can talk with Jeff about that. So, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to hire Robert Brown Jr. as the city, what do you call him, assistant to the city superintendent. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same side, motion carried. Okay, Nicole, so that will be the resolution.
I'll do that as soon as I can.
Okay. Next, we have the hydrant painting. So I didn't let the hydrant painting die. I contacted the league, and they're looking in to see if there's anything that they can find or how we go about doing it to do what these other cities have done. So I talked with Nicole Aiken today, and she said, that's a new one on me. I've never been asked this question, so she goes, I'm gonna dig in and see what I can find, so.
You can call the cities that have it. Lyons has it, Derby has it, Bel Air has
Lindsburg.
it. They're all through, Russell has it,
Lindsburg
call one of
has
them.
one.
Topeka has it.
Lindsburg has them, I believe Rose said, so.
So it's not illegal.
No, I don't think it's illegal, I just wanna
It's
know
how
what the
it was
ramifications are, what we're supposed to do to get
It's
it
a matter
done.
of the city ordinance being addressed and drawn up, and
How it
it's
was
totally against the city.
stated on there was painting a public hydrant is not illegal, or is not legal, and could result in criminal charges for defacing city property. Now, that would
Yeah, if they were-
include if we didn't have that under or okayed or it wasn't. Of course, private hydrants can always be painted
I mean,
whatever they
Twilight and
want.
Hootie had theirs red, white, and blue forever too. So.
And so the main thing of it is, and when I was really looking in and digging in, it was a matter of we need to go to the fire department, which we're kind of under a little different circumstance here. Our fire department isn't ran by our city. Our fire department is ran by the county.
Yep.
So we should go to the fire department, see what their feelings are on it, how they would look at it. Then we could come back, and if they was okay with that, then we could go ahead and then change and do whatever under an ordinance that. But at the same token, they do really suggest in everything that I have looked up and read, and it's through the National Fire Department is where most of these regulations are drawn up from. So when it's basically keeping these fire hydrants, and I realize we're not a metropolis, I get that, but that we are in proper color codes. If you noticed, and I did notice this when I drove through Ellis now, their fire hydrants have been painted recently because they own the fire hydrant. It was painted yellow with red caps or yellow with a green cap, depending on the pressure
flow.
Which
that
McCracken
is-
doesn't have pressures, it's all one.
We
I've
have
talked to the fire
one pressure,
department.
we are under the red,
Yeah.
the red. So ours would definitely be what, in all honesty, should be yellow because we own as the city owns the water supply, it should be probably painted yellow with red caps because of our flow, our pressure flow. So with that being said, yes, we could probably go beyond that, but they also, it needs to be done with epoxy paint. I did look up epoxy paint. They run around $100 a gallon. And that was one of the things that, if it's not epoxy paint, it needs to be bonded, a bonding epoxy liquid, that clear coat that goes over it. So regardless of how we do it, we do really have to do it with the right materials in that respect. But we also, and I will agree, the paint, they all are, because I looked into that at one point, the painting of just painting them back to red like they are. So, but it is going to be something that is somewhat a costly thing if we're doing it correctly and we use the epoxy paints and we do it the right way. They probably all need to be painted before we even put anything that's like the dog or whatever. I think they're cute as can be. I really do. But I just wanted us to do it the right way. I mean, it wasn't really because I'm against it, because I'm not against it at all. But I just know there's some regulations that we really need to follow, and following that, it's just a matter of working with the fire department and working with our city department and how we're going to handle, moving forward with it, if that's okay. So it really wasn't, I'm totally not against it at all. I think they're cute as can be. Like I said, I think they really do set things off. But I just want us to be sure that we do them right, because there was really a part that I read, and it says if your house is on fire and the fire department comes in the middle of the night or in a snowstorm, can they find the fire hydrant and can they hook up to it properly? And that's basically what it's about. It's not about being against anything.
We're talking about a little 86-year-old lady toll painting on some.
Exactly, but
Yeah,
we
that's
still
all
have
we're
to
doing,
do
and then
it.
you epoxy over it, and it's all done. The rest of it's the same color as it's always been. So
Does she
anyway,
have like a template?
No.
Anything
No,
like-
she
just got
she's
she
very-
freehands. She's a beautiful toll painter. She does
Yeah.
sunflowers. She does roses. She does barns. She does.
I know Rose has
scenery.
like she used to have that fire hydrant in her yard.
Yeah,
I didn't know if maybe she'd let her paint one of those
yeah.
to see kind of what they look like.
No, she does great work.
Well, I'm not worried about, obviously, the paint, because they said when they brought the idea up that she wanted to do that on her own with the paint, so she would pick the paint and all that, so I'm not against any of that. I just want to make sure that whatever the league tells me is where we go, get the information. So I would make a motion to table it at this time, so it doesn't die off the agenda, because
Right.
I'd make a motion to table it and pending the league's decision as far as what they kind of give us back on that.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to table the hydrant painting at this time until the league can get back with us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same side, motion carried.
Can I throw one more
New
thing in there?
business.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you earlier, when I was going through Ellis, the McCracken sign is just completely wiped out. I mean, doesn't have any paint on it at all. It's green and it says the 24 miles from here. It's right across the street from the co-op. Anyway, when I called them 2 years ago, they said that they would replace it. Well, it's never been replaced. So then I called back and I talked to Brandon, which is now over streets. They took it before the council. They're not going to do anything about it. But if the city of McCracken wants to replace that sign and put the McCracken 24 miles back up there on double sides, they will hang it. But you have to supply the sign.
Okay.
Have y'all seen that? I mean, you
It's
can't,
awful.
you can't read one
You
letter.
can't
of
read
that.
it.
I've got a picture of that on my phone.
I know, it drives me
I was
insane.
supposed to put that on the
It's
agenda.
been 2 years, 2.5 years.
And that would have been through
You
the
can't
county,
even read
right?
the letter.
Yeah, but they refuse, they will not do it.
I just was thinking that was on
It's
the
under
county.
500.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought they were.
Sure, it's not gonna be over that, right?
because they told us 2 years ago that they would do it. And then they had a whole new change too, and that's all just gone on that. It's forgotten.
Well, I'll make a motion then to, first I'll add that to your new business, and then I'll make a motion to, fix the sign in Ellis, right?
Yeah,
In Ellis.
it's
If
right
it's
at
under-
40 and,
if
what's
it's
the
under
road coming
$500.
in? Ellis Road. What is that?
Ellis Avenue.
Shouldn't be $500, I wouldn't think,
No.
No.
but she said give her a number to be underneath, so I said
Yeah.
500.
So it's under 500?
Yeah, if it's under 500, I'd make a motion to fix it, so people know how to get here.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to fix the.
I was just
sign in
upset
Ellis.
we
All
have-
those in favor say aye.
You know, our grandkids go to school there and they couldn't put up a friggin' sign. I thought that was tacky.
All opposed, same side, motion
Yeah.
carried. Well, that's crazy that
Go to
they don't
school
wanna
there.
fix their own sign.
What's our sign?
Oh, it's our sign.
It's
Our
our
sign's been on their property,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. I figured it was their sign, and if we had one that was theirs,
I've seen that last week.
maybe, okay.
I just need to know what big projects you guys want to plan for next year, so I can,
Well,
For budget preparation?
yeah. Like, is there anything that,
I would like you to just look at all of our salaries that we have now put into play
okay?
and what that, you know, where that is. I think we're fine, but I'd just like to see where that goes in.
Okay.
What about your pool budget?
It's
Since
changed on
it's
the,
That's
non-existent.
kind of what I was
Yeah,
looking
it's
like,
changed-
yeah,
it's changed
like,
off
I
of
need to
the-
know what you're wanting
it's
to,
changed off of the line item, so.
it still is a line,
Or line
it still
item,
is
but
an
it's
item
changed in
though.
there, though.
But I need an idea of how much you're wanting to do for that, just so I can make the budget, I mean, you know, so we're more prepared this year than we were last year.
Right, we had fun last year.
Do I have to give you that information now, or can I give you that information for that
You can give
specific
it to-
thing?
We're gonna do this every single meeting
Well,
until then, so.
You're supposed to be receiving a, letter
A bid.
for the bid
Okay.
for the pool.
All
So
right,
if
good,
we
we
have
can,
that.
yeah,
plus,
well, I'm gonna
once
have this
that's
on the agenda
done-
until the budget.
Yeah, that, because I was thinking about that, but I wanted to kind of get that information
That-
before we.
That also might be something we could take to a work session,
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to
Do.
have one.
so,
Okay.
okay. Is there anything else on there?
Nope.
If there's nothing else, then I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting
I'll
at
second it.
7:37. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same side, motion carried. The next meeting is next Monday, right? And then
No.
that's our
We're
last one?
done.
Oh, we're
We
done?
go back to, next meeting, the ordinance goes into effect, so we don't need to do it unless you want to.
Well,
You get a lot more done.
I'll tell you,
Go
I'm just
ahead and
waiting
go
on
back
Chris to
under
tell me,
ordinance and then
because that was the other thing I was
look
gonna
at it.
report on. He just has to tell me what day he can meet with us for code enforcement.
Oh, that could,
At
Yeah,
least twice a month.
so,
and then we need to make, I would like our meetings to be switched to Tuesdays. There's any chance that could happen?
Wasn't it on Tuesday up by ordinance?
Huh?
Was it on Tuesday
No,
by
we switched
ordinance or
them.
was it
Yeah,
on
we got
Monday?
switched.
Yeah, well, the reason I'd like to too is because sometimes like we had the holiday fall on it occasionally, and I think it would be better if we stayed on
But
a
like on
Tuesday.
Mondays, it's just if I'm looking at the library, then that's kind of, it was a lot today.
Well, I just look at it too, that we've had
they
holidays
get a
that
hold
fall
of
on
it
us.
here at the library, so.
That would be,
So that's the only thing that,
I don't
so are
know.
we gonna have a meeting Monday or no?
We don't have to call a special meeting, do, because it'll be a special meeting now?
We just decide right now, just are we gonna have a
I
meeting
can't
Monday?
tell you because he's not called me back, so I can't tell you if he's available on Monday. If he's available on Monday, I would like to have a meeting on Monday, yes, so that we can
Okay, well,
have him
then
come to talk to the public
let
about
me know,
code
just like
compliance.
3 days before.
Okay,
Okay,
I left him a message, I just need him to call me back,
okay.
and I'll follow up with him again tomorrow.
There's a railroad tie in the burn pit after you guys burn it? Is that gonna get out of there?
After we burn it?
No, there's a railroad tie.
Someone put one down there? is what you're
Someone
saying?
put one in there. It's in
And
there.
some
I
metal.
have pictures.
And metal.
So,
Metal?
There's a metal,
so,
you know,
good way to get shut down.